I know my son was not a drug addict. I know these men were not drug addicts.
I know that his story does not add up, and I know that he's not telling the truth in some way or fashion.
What do you believe happened to your son?
I believe that they were drugged in some kind of drug, and then they were drugged outside and left in the snow to die.
She said, quote, David didn't do drugs and was strong about not doing them, especially what's been spoken about on social media. And we also
I don't believe anybody's innocent in this. My son was a grown man, and I love him dearly, and this is tearing me apart. But I have to fight for him now.
Nothing makes sense. Nothing. I want justice. It's heartbreaking. You know, my daughter keeps saying, I miss my dad.
Now, to use my cousin, my best friend, as a guinea pig? No.
What about Alex Lee? What do you know about him?
I know him.
Yeah? Yeah. Any idea that he might have brought drugs?
Hell
No?
no. Jordan had him. Jordan was one.
So you don't think any more attention should be paid on Alex Lee?
Alex Lee is a good man. He's a good man. Alex Lee is a solid. He was one of their best friends forever. Jordan is somebody that is known from high school as like creating drugs for people to make them feel better in certain situations. Okay, well, you want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you. I'm gonna make this for you.
Wow. Well, it looks like it could be another long night with this case. I know it feels like it's just nonstop information, but that's because it is nonstop information. This is huge. Now, if you remember, yesterday the family met with the Platte County Prosecutor's Office. They came back and said that they feel confident that the police department and the prosecutor's office are taking this seriously. Now today, we have toxicology reports. Let's get to it.
Linda, how did the meetings go today with the Platte County prosecutors?
It went well. We got just reassurance that they are looking into this case fully. They didn't give any specifics on, evidence or what they found or what they haven't found. They just reassured us that it is being investigated.
I know that April Mahoney, who is Clayton McGeeney's fiancée, made the discovery, at least of one of the bodies. Can you explain that or describe that as you have learned from her? How exactly did she see the body that she saw? Was it through a window? Did she go into the backyard? Like, how did it happen?
My understanding is she entered the house through the front into the basement. And she went upstairs and was looking through a window and saw the body seated on the back patio in a chair.
So she was able to see through a window that David Harrington was seated in that lawn chair on that back patio. Did your husband, Ricky, asked to come and identify Ricky's son, Ricky Jr.? Who made the identification for the police?
We were not asked to go identify the body. They told us that the bodies have to thaw out. They were frozen, and that could have possibly have taken to that Friday. Well, we weren't really willing to wait that long. So I called the medical examiner the next day, and I started describing Ricky's tattoos and his piercings, and she told me that was one of the deceased that she had.
Did you ask if you could come and make that identification personally yourselves?
I did ask. I was told that that's something that you only see in movies. Don't these people to identify bodies.
To be clear, they said that's only something they do in the movies if you wanted to identify Ricky yourselves. Is that clear?
Yes, that's filming.
So maybe the police department was just being mum about things after all. I mean, that is very possible. Many cases, they don't come out and give us the press conferences and answer those questions that we desperately want them to answer. And they certainly have not done so in this case. But it does seem that the families were at least able to walk away feeling that this was being looked into, that it was being taken very seriously. Now, the coincidence to me is that the toxicology report should have taken up to 8 weeks. It's been about 3.5 weeks. And just this evening, News Nation is reporting that cocaine and other illicit substances discovered in early toxicology reports for the 3 men, detectives tell the victims' families. A family member who asked to remain anonymous tells News Nation that cocaine, fentanyl, and THC showed up in the preliminary results. The family source says that level 10 fentanyl is enough to kill. The Kansas City 3, they were at level 30. And then after that, Alex with News Nation did make another tweet, and he says this has now been backed up and confirmed by a second separate family source. Now, when Alex with News Nation mentioned the levels, he said level 10, and these men were at level 30. I'm not real sure what he means by level, as fentanyl is usually measured in nanograms per milliliter. So a nanogram is like 1/1,000,000th of a gram, and a gram is about 1/30th of an ounce, and that's typically how it's measured. Just 2 milligrams of fentanyl is equal to about 10 to 15 grains of table salt. And that in itself is considered a lethal dose. The vast majority of cases, any fentanyl concentration of greater than 7 nanograms per milliliter in an otherwise healthy individual will have a cause of death attributed to fentanyl. An even lower level is needed if other drugs that cause respiratory suppression or sedation is present, such as alcohol or other opiates or benzodiazepines. So the tolerance and dependence develop very rapidly with fentanyl, and the most common side effects when somebody uses it are being nauseous, dizziness, vomiting, fatigue, headache, constipation, and anemia. I don't see why this sounds like a lot of fun, guys. This does not sound fun at all. Who the hell wants to take something that's going to make them sick, nauseous, vomit, give them a headache, make them constipated, and make them swell up? Well, I don't think that these guys knew that that's what they were taking. Now, I'm not an expert on drug use or the side effects or any of this, but it doesn't appear to me that fentanyl would have had 3 grown men seeking the freezing outdoor weather. But sadly, that cocaine certainly could have, as it does raise the body's temperature and it diminishes the body's ability to cool itself down. So, as I originally thought, did they possibly do the cocaine inside? Then they went outside to cool down. They didn't know that that cocaine was laced, whether intentionally or accidentally. That really could be the scenario. You know, I don't want this to come off as sounding harsh. It probably will, but I don't intend it that way. As soon as I saw the toxicology report from Alex, I told my husband, I knew it. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. And I think it's sad. Either their families and significant others were not aware, or this was just something they did on Sunday football days, or maybe it's something they very rarely, if ever, participated in. We don't know. Hopefully they're going through all the cell phones and all those kind of records, and they can trace back where this came from, because whoever sold this drug that killed these 3 men needs to be prosecuted. to the fullest. I don't think for a minute that any of these 3 men would have put something like this on their families. I don't, because it's not something you think about at the time when you're doing stupid shit. But you know what? That one night of partying, man, it sure destroyed a whole lot of effing lives, didn't it? Children, women, parents, and 3 men have lost their lives. Alex and Jordan, they'll probably never be the same again either. It is not worth it. And that's my take on it. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. I, again, am so appreciative of you being here and watching this. And until next time, talk to you soon. Please be safe and don't do the damn drugs.